I think we already got quite some participants here, so I think we could start with our today's webinar regarding our mediCAD mixed reality solution and what you can get out of the solution or how you can benefit from this solution in the OR within your orthopedic or traumatologic surgeries. So before I start with what we are going to do today, I would like to give you a short introduction about myself. So my name is David Würdinger. I'm working here at mediCAD in the product management, especially responsible for the area of new technologies, and in this realm as well responsible for our mediCAD mixed reality solution, which I will talk a little bit more in detail today. So what we're going to talk about today will be, first of all, I want to give you a short overview about what mediCAD mixed reality actually is and what you can get out of it, how you could imagine this mixed reality solution, what this actually looks like. When it comes to our mixed reality solution, of course, there are different fields of application. The first, after giving you the short introduction, the first application field I want to talk about a little bit is how you could use this solution in the case of shoulder endoprosthesis surgeries. And then afterwards, we will take a look at how you could also benefit from the solution within your traumatologic surgeries. And maybe I will also at the end, depending on how much time we got left, give you a short overview about how you could actually also use this solution for cooperating topics like video streaming, like teaching and learning. Generally speaking, you will have the possibility to ask questions. Feel free to do so during the whole webinar. We are the Zoom chat. We will take a look at these not during the session, but at the end there will be some time left in order to talk a little bit about your questions, about your inquiries, or of course you can also write us an email later on if there are any additional questions. So I would say, without any further ado, let's start right into what our mixed reality solution actually is. So generally speaking, you might have quite some questions when it comes to your preoperative planning as well as the intraoperative execution of your endoprosthetic and traumatologic surgeries. You might ask yourself, what implant size do you need? What placement should the implants have? How do you want to place the implants? What are the specific patient measurements? Intraoperatively, you might think about, okay, you did the plan, but how exactly could you actually place the implants as you planned? How does the patient anatomy looks like while standing in the surgery? And does the patient maybe have any anatomical characteristics like osteophysis that you have to consider? So for the preoperative part, as you might already know, we got our mediCAD 3D solution for different body areas like the hip, the shoulder, the knee, the spine, which provide you already a really good solution in order to plan your intraoperative surgeries. But the main question now, of course, is how can you actually benefit from these 3D planning intraoperatively? And that's where our mediCAD mixed reality solution comes into place. So we thought about, you have all these three-dimensional benefits of your 3D planning. If you're more interested into this, feel free. This will be a topic of another webinar, so feel free to follow us on LinkedIn for that. But generally, when it comes to the mixed reality solution, we wanted to know, okay, how can we actually benefit from the 3 dimensions we had during planning intraoperatively? Let's first of all talk a little bit, for those of you who are not yet familiar with mixed reality, what is mixed reality? And when you're talking about mixed reality, one topic a lot of people are talking about are extended reality solutions, which is basically the umbrella term for different technologies, including mixed reality, which enable the user to combine your analog surrounding with digital elements. This includes, first of all, virtual reality solutions, virtual reality software mainly, which give you the possibility to directly, completely dive into the digital, the virtual world. You can move completely physiologically as you would do, but apart from that, you are completely within the virtual surrounding. This is especially applicable for games, for simulations, for example. Then on the other hand, we have the augmented reality, which is basically the other side of the spectrum. This basically just means you still are completely within your analog surrounding, but you have the possibility to enhance it with digital elements. You might notice from your car, like the head-up displays from your car, for example, would go into that direction. Some mobile phones also have these possibilities. I don't know if you've heard of Pokemon Go. This is, for example, something in that direction. Both very interesting fields, but from our perspective, we decided we don't want to be completely in this simulation. Neither do we just want to have something viewed, but we want something that is able to interact with the analog and the digital world at the same time. And this is exactly where the mixed reality comes into place. So our mediCAD MR software is developed as a mixed reality solution, and this gives you the possibility to have virtual and real elements merged together in one world. They can interact together. For example, you're able, you will see this later on when we come to our cases, but you're able to place those digital elements somewhere in the room on a table. You can leave the room, you can go back, and the elements will be remaining where you left them. So in this case, the digital elements merge into your analog surrounding as if they would be real objects. So as I said, this is where our mixed reality solution comes into place. And the hardware for our mediCAD mixed reality solution is the Microsoft HoloLens 2. So this is basically, you might have heard about it, one of the most powerful tools when it comes to mixed reality devices on the market at the moment. The Microsoft HoloLens, without getting too deep into the technical stuff, if you're interested in that, feel free to contact us later on. It is completely sterilizable, so you have the possibilities to sterilize it after your surgery with UV boxes, with alcoholic-based tissues, and so on. You can wear it as well with prescription glasses, so this is also no problem. As you can see, I got a HoloLens here. You can move up and down the visor, so no problem here if you use glasses. It generally has 6 integrated cameras, 4 pointing to the outside, capturing your surrounding, and 2 pointing to the inside, capturing your iris, your eye, enabling eye tracking as well. The internal storage is 64 gigabytes with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So as you can see, quite powerful and quite good performing when it comes to our cases. So what does mediCAD MR actually does? It enables you to visualize your preoperative plan intraoperatively in order to get an integrated transfer from planning into the OR. This looks in a way that you might have done your hip planning in this case, and you can directly transfer it into the OR, where the HoloLens in the OR, and visualize the 3D object of your planning. Further, what MR is also capable of is that you can transfer CTs into 3 elements directly within the app. This is especially interesting, as we will see later on in the case of trauma cases, because you might not be able to plan priorly, you don't have that much time, you can just upload your CT into the MR app. The MR app will create a 3D model that you can then visualize in order to figure out how your patient anatomy looks like in 3 dimensions. So further, as I mentioned, you also have the possibility to work in a collaborative way with mediCAD MR. You have the possibility to use more than one HoloLens together with the same object, so you can share them in order to enable more than one users in the OR to view the same object. For example, your surgery assistant can wear one as well. He can provide you with the elements you need to see, so you don't even have to bother with that anymore as well. And you also have the possibility to live stream everything you do on during your OR session, during your surgery, either to a desktop app that is directly connected, but as well to a outside outside browser device, outside session that everybody network extending can attend to. We have a service website where you can log into. I will probably have some time left at the end to show you that one as well. Generally, it's available for all our modules, so you can use it with our 3D hip, knee, shoulder, spine, and also foot plannings. And before we dive right into our cases, I would like to provide you with some impressions out of the OR, how this could actually look like in the OR. So as you can see, there are different possibilities to view what you want to see. You can view it with or without the implants. You can use it with 2 HoloLenses at the same time. So several possibilities here. All right, then I would say we dive right into our first case, which is a shoulder joint replacement that I brought here today, that we prepared with our mediCAD 3D planning software. I will just quickly show you this one here. So as I mentioned, this is topic of another webinar, but as you can see, situation now would be, we did the shoulder planning in our 3D module. We uploaded the CT. We planned on how to place the implants. We have all the measurements, and now we want to bring it to the OR. So what we would do now is to go to our mediCAD mixed reality desktop solution. So our mediCAD solution consists of 2 applications, one for the HoloLens, that's like the main application, and one for the desktop. We can directly export this out of any of our 3D modules. Then we go here to our desktop application. We upload the planning. I already prepared a little collection here that we can view within the app, and then we have the possibility to adapt further within this app on what we want to see, what we want to visualize, what we need in the OR. So as you can see, first of all, we have here our 3D reconstruction along with the implants. In this case, I also decided to display the Friedman's line. We have all our measurements here, our planning report, which will always be part of the export by standard, which includes here our glenoid entry point, several screenshots you can take during the software, all our measurements, our implant list, and so on. And for this case, I decided to additionally add a CT of our patient anatomy preoperatively, which we can scroll through. Of course, that way you could also add any other information. So let's say you would like to add some x-rays, some additional x-rays out of your PACS. You could do this directly. We have an integrated PACS connection here, but you could also load local JPEGs, surgery guides, whatever you might need. Then in the next step, what we are going to do is send everything we got here directly to our HoloLens. We do so by opening here this button, open in HoloLens. We have a QR code within our HoloLens application. We just look at this QR code. You can as well print it out, hang it in the OR. You can upload it to your tablet, whatever you prefer. And then we already are directly here in our HoloLens main application. So as you can see, this looks like following. It looks like a window floating within your field of view. You can walk around it just like a monitor without any real hardware behind. What we then do is here we click on load it. As I mentioned, you can also print out the QR code. So that's also what I did here. I just look at the QR code. The HoloLens will then load my file. In case if I have loaded more than one file, you can select which planning you want to view first. In this case, we go for the shoulder tab first. And then the software will automatically upload the file we want to look at during our surgery onto the HoloLens and view it. So now within our field of view are all the things we prepared, our planning report, our CT stack, as well as our measurements, and of course the most important, most interesting part, our 3D reconstruction that we got right here in front of us above our menu. This one you can grab, of course, you can move it, can either directly grab into it. You can also control it via a distance, via a pointer. And I didn't do that here, but generally the complete app is also controllable via voice control. So you can really completely use it in a sterile surrounding without any real physical contact. You can move it around. And as you might have seen, once you place it somewhere, it will remain at the exact very same place. I now resized it here a little bit. Initially, if you upload it, it's always true to size to the patient, so that you have the possibility in order to compare it to the patient. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. Move it up, and then we can take a look at our menu. So first thing I did here now was to segment it. So we have all this different sub-elements. We have our implants, we have our bony area here, which we can disassemble into specific single elements, enabling you to have a even more detailed look at what might be interesting for you in the OR. You can, of course, move all of those elements around on their own. But for now, let's reassemble it. And then I will go a little bit in detail on how this can actually leverage or help you in the OR. So what I also did was I created some steps. So you can define several specific combinations of those sub-elements prior to this OR session, depending on what you would like to see in the OR. So when we come to the when we are here at the shoulder surgery, for example, of course, first thing that might be interesting for you, I guess, is where do you want to place your base plate, or even one step before, where should you place your K-wire in order to get the result you planned to. So in this case, we showed the Friedman's line, but now in the next step, I also added the base plate. So now we can directly get a feeling or visualize where did we plan our base plate, and where should we have to place the base plate in order to get the result that we planned in our mediCAD 3D shoulder software. And of course, since in the OR, it's always very hard to visualize how the glenoid looks like due to all the soft tissue, due to all the blood. This is a great possibility to place this right next to your patient anatomy in order to see what you can't see during the OR. So you will be able to see every bone area of the patient. You can exactly understand how the patient anatomy looks like without having to clean up the whole patient or getting all the bone in your field of view, because you have it all here. You can visualize those parts, which of course should give you a lot more security during the OR session, and also help you to not spend that much time during the OR, because you don't have to spend so much time thinking about how the patient anatomy might look like, because you have it all directly in your field of view. Of course, we also have some additional tools here, like the orientation we just saw. I will go one step back here. This is basically a possibility in order to get a quick view on specific preset views. So let's say you want to have a quick view on the sagittal plane, axial plane, or coronal plane. You could do this via these buttons. If you click here on more, even more features will come up. In this case, what might be quite interesting for you in the next step is, okay, you planned about how to place your base plate here. You now maybe realize intraoperatively, maybe you have to adapt something a little bit. Maybe the way you planned it doesn't work, wherever in the OR. So of course you might ask yourself, okay, but how does the patient anatomy look like behind all the soft tissue, behind all the bony area? Do I still have some room to play? For example, in case I would want to place the stem a little bit deeper, or maybe tilt change the rotation, tilt the base plate a little bit more, may I get a perforation within my scapula or not? So in this case, you could use this transparency mode, which enables you to view the placement of the implants in the bony area and help you to understand how the non-visible parts of your patient looks like. Also, again, one feature that should give you more security in the OR in order to also get better results, be faster, have less complications because you have everything you can see directly in your field of view. So as you can see, now I locked everything. Let's say that's the view you want to have for now in the OR. Now we can take a further look also at the 2D files that we uploaded. So you can, for example, view the entry point of your glenoid here. You can view which implant size did you plan intraoperatively. You don't have to ask, you don't have to step away from your patient in order to view that on an external monitor, but you could actually also use the solution as a replacement, at least in some regard, to a certain degree, of your intraoperative monitors, because you can view all the information you would normally have to put onto external monitors directly in your field of view, which of course also should help you to be more effective during the OR, because you don't have to step away from the patient. You don't have to step away 3 times in order to get a view on the CT, but you can directly scroll into, so you don't have to put on new sterile gloves. You don't have to refocus on your patient if you don't even have to get away from the patient. And that way you are really completely free. So that's one thing that's also important for us in the solution, that you have the possibility to upload or to view whatever is important for you, whatever you want to view in the OR, of course, within certain boundaries, but generally you are really free. And let's go back to the topic we were talking about before. Let's say you really decide or realize you have to change your plan a little bit. You have to change the placement of your glenosphere. You also have the possibility to do this in very precise, fine ways in order to figure out if any, in this case, base plate perforations might, scapular perforations through the base plate might happen. So this is just another tool in order to give you more possibilities of viewing exactly what you want to see. And as you can see, if we would move it like this, we would realize, oh, okay, that might not be that good because here we get a perforation of the scapula. So we might want to change it a little bit more. And that way you can basically simulate any change of plans on your 3D model before actually having to perform then, because we all know once the K-wire, for example, is being set, it's too late. The shoulder might not be that forgiving. You don't have endless possibilities to set this. So ideally, your first K-wire shot or placement should be already perfect. So another feature I already talked about previously is this sharing I just activated here. So this is basically the possibility to add other HoloLenses to the session so that you are able to view the same holograph with more than just one session. All right. So far with our first case we were looking at today. So this was a brief overview of how you could use your MR solution during shoulder surgeries. And the next step, I want to go to the tibia fracture we were talking about previously, but generally to summarize this a little bit of what this actually should help you with is basically it's a visualization of those areas that you're not able to see intraoperatively in order to enhance the surgery speed, because you save some non-necessary ways to external monitors, and it should just give you more security and a overall better performance during the OR. So the next case I brought here today is a tibia fracture, because I think especially in the trauma case, this is also a very interesting field for our mixed reality application. In the case of trauma cases like this tibia fracture I brought here, you might not be able to do a planning previously. First of all, there are not that many planning tools on the market, but of course also planning is simply not possible. If you get an emergency, you can't spend days before or hours preparing a plan in most of the cases. So what our HoloLens application is capable of is, I will quickly show you this. So we could add here another collection, and then we would be able to just upload a DICOM that we can then directly upload into the software. And what the software will ask us now is, do you want to view this DICOM, the CT stack, as a 2D file, as we did previously, or do you want to create a 3D file out of this? And if you create a 3D file out of this, then this is exactly what you will get here. In this case, of course, I also added some more 2D files that might be interesting, but as you can see, I have a 3D reconstruction of my knee here with a tibia plateau fracture that we can now visualize. And of course, first of all, this is something that is very interesting as well during the OR as an intraoperative tool, but especially in those cases, it can as well be very useful and interesting to actually use it as a preoperative planning tool. Because as I mentioned, preoperative planning in a classical way is not that easy, not that easily doable in trauma cases. But in this way, you have a quick and easy possibility to visualize what to expect intraoperatively and view what you want to see or what expects you later on. And actually, in this regard, I would also like to share a study with you. I will post this to the chat later on. The study was performed by several surgeons from the LMU, from the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich. And the base outcome of the study actually was they used our mediCAD mixed reality solution in order to visualize tibia plateau fractures, several different types of fractures, and measured on how much better the performance when it comes to recognizing pathologies is compared to doing it on a classical way based on CTs. And they actually figured out that the users were significantly better with recognizing the correct treatment or correct pathology when using a mixed reality solution. Similarly, easy as when they would print it out as a 3D print, but of course 3D printing in this case would be much more costly than a holograph. It's not as sustainable. We have a lot of garbage that we have to throw away, and most importantly, it's also very time consuming. A 3D print can take up to 2, 3, 4 days until it's delivered to your clinic. If you have a 3D printer in your clinic, that might be quicker, but you still might have to wait like 12 hours or something. And this is done in 30 to 60 seconds, depending on the size of the CT. So what should this now, we talked a little bit about the preoperative support, but what should this actually, how should this help you intraoperatively? As you can see, what I did now, also here, I did the segmentation in order to get a clearer view on the tibia plateau. So first of all, what I have here now is a really nice reconstruction or displaying of how a tibial fractal looks like. In this case, I previously segmented the biggest fragment as well in order to be even able to simulate the repositioning of the object. And that again should help you to give a better understanding of how the pathology looks like, a better understanding of what to expect during the surgery. And also when you're during the surgery, you might have the problems that one user described it in a way that he often puts when treating the trauma case, he might put the finger into the patient. He feels some kind of fragments behind all the soft tissue, but he doesn't really know what is this actually? What is this fragment? Where does it belong to? Is it something I have to consider? Is it maybe something I forgot to consider during reconstruction? And in that way, of course, you can just view your 3D reconstruction. You see, okay, this has to be this specific big or small fragment, and you exactly know where to put it, what form it has. Is it already in the correct position? Do you might have to consider a repositioning here as well? And of course, also here we have the possibility to make it transparent. In this case, transparency as a whole object might not be that useful because you don't have any implants here. But we have another possibility here as well I would like to show you, and this is our clipping sphere. So in case you don't want to hide the complete or put the complete object as a transparent object, you can also hide specific parts of your anatomy. Again, something that should help you in order to view those parts during the surgery that you can't view or can't see with your sole eye on the patient. But with this solution, you, for example, would be able to completely hide the femur. You could go through all the layers in order to figure out how the fragment is placed in the different layers, just giving you another possibility to visualize whatever you want. And again, of course, also here we have the possibility to scroll through our CT stacks in order to compare how does our reconstruction or 3D reconstruction is combined with the CT. In this case, I also added a additional PDF in case you are still in the analyzing phase, which trauma case, which tibia plateau fracture type this might be. You would also be able to upload this more as a preoperative tool maybe. And as you might see on the very left side here, we also have the X-rays that I added out of the packs. So you could also view them during surgery. And of course, by the way, you don't have to prepare all of those elements during surgery, before surgery, sorry, but you would actually also be able to upload this after you already transferred everything to the HoloLens. So I will just quickly show you on how this might look like. We are still here in our shoulder planning. Let's say you already transferred everything to the HoloLens. Just ask your surgeon assistant to please add some specific file. They would click on local, select the file you want to see, and it will be sent directly to the HoloLens. All right, so this was a brief overview of how you could benefit from our mediCAD mixed reality solution, not only in regard of the of orthopedic cases, but as well in the traumatologic field, which I think is, or which we think here at mediCAD is something that is like a really important and interesting application field as well. So before we come to an end and go towards the question Q&A session, I told you that there's one more thing I would like to quickly talk about when it comes to mediCAD MR, and that's the collaboration area. So basically, as I mentioned, you're able to use shared holograms with the mediCAD MR software as well. So you would even be able to let 2 users in the OR look at the same object, let 3 users with a HoloLens look at the same object in order to give your surgery assistant the possibility to assist you even better during surgery. Because you might say, hey, can you please give me a clear view on the glenoid? You will just segment the object, put the scapula with the K-wire or Friedman's line or glenosphere, whatever you want to see, directly in your field of view, and you don't even have to bother about the HoloLens handling anymore. Next step here, we also, as I mentioned, is the topic of live streaming. So if I switch back here to our desktop application, you might see we have a possibility to start a live streaming here directly in our MR app. But additionally, you also have the possibility to create streaming sessions to external PCs, to external networks. So for example, in case of teaching students, young surgeons, you want to show in case you have a very interesting case, but of course you can't put them all in the OR. That would be additional logistic effort, additional risk in the OR. Of course, every additional person is a additional person that doesn't have to be there with our MR solution, because they can actually just click on a link that you shared with them and then attend the live stream directly during the OR. And same, of course, also applies to vendors of implants, implant manufacturers, since they might also want to give you the best possible support during the OR, but you might not be able to always invite them to the surgery session. They also have a lot of other appointments. They might not have the time to come to every session. That way, you just send them the invitation link. They can attend the surgery when it's getting interesting, when it's getting about placing the implants. They could even, if we go back here, if you do it via this desktop application, send files during the stream to the HoloLens in order to show you, for example, let's say they want to show you on how to place the new implant system. They will send you a guide through the app and you can directly view it in the OR without having the necessity of them standing in the OR all the time. And that, of course, is also applicable for young students you might want to assist during their first OR sessions. So you can give them more security. That way, of course, you can also give them earlier the possibility to actually get practice in the OR, because you can still help them and support them without the need of being there physically. All right, so I guess for today's session, we are already through with all the topics I wanted to say. As mentioned, now we have some room left for additional questions from your side. So in case there are any questions, any topics you would like to ask us, feel free to either write it down in the chat, or of course, if you want to contact us later on, feel free to just contact us via sales@medicad.eu. Also, if you might think now, okay, this sounds quite interesting, this sounds quite cool, but you don't really know how this actually would feel like in person, feel free, please contact us, because we at mediCAD think this is something you really have to try out. That's why we would be more than happy to just visit you at your site, prepare you with a HoloLens that you can try out, that you can play around a little bit with, in order to get a feeling of how this mixed reality actually feels and looks like in real life, in order to also get a feeling of how you could actually benefit from it. All right. Seems like no more questions are coming up, so I think we could end this session now. I thank you all for your time, for your interest in our solution, and I would happy to answer your questions afterwards as well, especially for those who are watching this afterwards, not live. Feel free to contact us and get your own hands-on demonstration of our mediCAD MR solution. Thank you very much and have a nice weekend. Bye.